What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Progressive Program. Today, we're not actually going to be talking about something that's too political. There's a lot going on in the race for president right now in the country. Bernie Sanders actually just had an appearance yesterday close to me up in Chicago. He had, again, huge numbers. Apparently, he's going to be talking to members of Black Lives Matters. There are lots of things going on in the campaign. Hillary's still being grilled about her emails. But today we're going to be talking about something a little less political, although still debated about and will be talked about when the presidential debates start coming through, especially on the left. The right, they really don't want to talk about tax reform because it probably negatively affects them with how much money they make. But today we're going to talk about tax reform. And right now, in many instances, if a millionaire, let's say Joe Millionaire is making $1 million a year, and his secretary is pulling in $30,000 a year. In certain cases, he is paying less in taxes than his secretary. He might be paying less than 20% in taxes because much of his money might be coming in through bank accounts, through interest, through Wall Street, things like that. And his secretary is paying 5 to 10% more in taxes than he is. And that is one of the major problems with our tax code right now, and is something that many on the left are trying to reform. A lot of people want to reform the tax code by putting something in called a flat tax. And that's a terrible idea. And I'll try to explain why the flat tax is a terrible idea. The flat tax says that, okay, let's say I'm a mill worker making $50,000 a year. I don't actually make $50,000 a year. I don't make close to $50,000 a year. If I did, I probably would have a lot less free time on my hands and would be much happier with the liberal arts degree that I earned. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that I'm making $50,000 a year as a mill worker, because I'm in a big steel region right now. We have plenty of mills up in East Chicago, Gary, Portage, all over northwest Indiana where I live. It's a mill town. And I make $50,000 a year. Now let's say that we're comparing me to Joe Millionaire. Joe Millionaire is making $1 million a year. Under the flat tax, I would pay, let's say, 20% of my taxes. So they take $10,000 out of my paychecks every year, and that's that. $10,000 out, I have $40,000. Joe Millionaire, they take 10% out, or 20% out, and he has $800,000 left over. Sounds fair, sounds equitable, sounds like this isn't a bad idea. 20%. My $10,000 is gone. His $200,000 gone. We're paying equal amounts, right? Not really. He's paying a lot more than I am. I'm paying $10,000. But talk about money in the real world sense. My $50,000 a year is not just for me, statistically. Let's say my $50,000 a year is for my wife. My $50,000 a year is for my daughter, my newborn daughter. $10,000 a year is a lot of money for a starting family, for a family that's just starting to bud and just starting to get into its own. My daughter needs diapers. My family needs groceries. My family needs mortgage payments. My family needs insurance payments. My family needs all these things. And $10,000 is a lot of money for those causes. $10,000 is a year's worth of mortgage payments for some people. $10,000 is, or rent payments for some people. $10,000 is a year's worth of insurance for some people. $10,000 is a year of groceries, a year of diapers, wipes, clothes, all these things. That's a lot of money. And that's being taken out of my hands because 20% is the flat rate. Let's say the flat rate is that $10,000 is being taken out. And I have $40,000 left over to work with to pay for mortgage payments, car insurance, health insurance, diapers, food, all of these things. And Joe Millionaire still has $800,000 to do whatever he wants. And that's, covering his mortgage, covering all of his things. With granted, he probably has a much more lavish lifestyle than I do. But he still has $800,000 left over, and I have $40,000. Now, the alternative would be, let's say I pay 10 or 15% in taxes. That takes a lot less out of my paychecks. That leaves me with, I'm still paying my taxes. I should still have to pay taxes because you don't live free in this country. You're not provided the services that you're provided in this country for free. But he pays a higher amount. Why? Because he can. Let's say in the most liberal sense that he pays 50% in income taxes. Let's say that in a new tax bracket, a new tax code, he would pay 50% in taxes. He still has $500,000 left over. Does he work hard for his money? Absolutely. Did he work hard to get where he is? Probably. He might be a trust fund baby. We're not really sure. But he still has $500,000 left over, while my family, including my newborn daughter and my wife, have $40,000 left over with that 20% flat tax. The point is, people in this country need to start paying their fair share. I don't think, and many other politicians, especially politicians on the left, politicians on the right don't really give a shit, generally speaking. People need to start paying their fair share of taxes in this country, and that doesn't mean, that some people actually aren't doing that, because there are some people that just make a lot of money and do pay high taxes, but there are some people under loopholes in the tax code that are paying small amounts of taxes because they make their income from interest or Wall Street, and their secretaries are paying sometimes double digits more in tax income than they do. That's something that needs to be focused on, and I think that that's something that's not getting a lot of talk in right now in this political cycle that needs to be talked about a little more. Yes, wealth and income inequality are extremely important. Absolutely. Racial issues are extremely important. Absolutely. Immigration is extremely important. Healthcare reform is extremely important. Obamacare is doing extremely well, in case you haven't noticed. The opinion numbers on it are going through the roof right now. But we need to talk about this tax code because it is something that is a problem right now. It is something that the people on Wall Street, or the people that are making millions or billions of dollars, are not paying their fair share. Many corporations right now, as you may have heard a certain senator from Vermont say, don't pay a nickel in income taxes. The tax code needs to be reworked, and it needs to be reworked right now because, in case you haven't noticed, our budget deficit is pretty high, and something like a restructured tax code would fix that. Taxable income is at a very low rate right now compared to what it was even during the Clinton administration. And that's something that we need to be talking about, and that's something that I think the political candidates need to be talking about. That's my rant / lesson / topic for the day. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please feel free to like or subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be putting about 3 videos out a week, ideally 3 videos out a week on different topics. And I think the next topic that I'll be talking about is immigration, because I'm really, really tired of hearing Donald Trump, or Scott Walker actually just said last night that we need to end birthright citizenship for children of immigrants in this country. So it was going to be something else, but it's going to be immigration, because I'm getting really, really annoyed with all these idiots talking about immigration when they really have no real-world understanding of what actually happens in the immigration system in this country. So thank you for watching the Progressive Program. Again, feel free to like or subscribe, and I will see you next time.